Good afternoon, how are you today? Hope you've been very well. We're gonna do makeup. Surprise! Last week I said something about a brown lip, and this week that's all I can think about, so let's do that. I've already prepped and primed, but after you've done that, let's begin. Oh, that was a big pump of foundation. Yikes. Everything that I use, I've listed down below. I do this in every makeup video. And this is because I'm not actually trying new products at this point. I'll be telling you what products I'm using in terms of eyeshadow and lipstick and lip gloss and stuff, but when it comes to complexion, it's gonna be the same products because I found what I like and I go with it. It feels kind of counterproductive to keep telling you that I'm using the exact same products, but they are always gonna be listed down below. But if you're new to my channel, I'll tell you why I use the foundation that I use. It is the Estee Lauder. I'll tell you what it is for now. It's the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup. I use it in the shade 2 and 1. Now, if you're new to my channel, I had oily skin. Now with everything like skincare treatments that I've been doing, my skin has gone from extremely oily and uncomfortable to mostly normal. And what I found out with this foundation, I was actually introduced to it at my best friend's wedding. So the makeup artist had this foundation and it was, on the day it was a lot because wedding makeup is a lot of makeup. But when I wear it, how I wear my makeup, it was very friendly to oily skin. So now when I wear it, not only does it still stay matte or satin finish or however it's supposed to finish, because my skin is normal now, it doesn't make my skin uncomfortable. It's not too mattifying to make my skin feel dry, and it isn't dewy because it was a friend to oily skin. So it is an all-around beautiful foundation. It's the best foundation I've tried. I'm gonna say that boldly because I used to love the Bobbi Brown. There was a Bobbi Brown foundation, the matte something foundation. I loved that. But considering this is the foundation that blew my mind and not that one, Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup. That's why I like it, that's why I wear it. And ultimately, that's why I haven't really branched out to new foundations. Because it works so well and it suits what I'm going for, it has the finish that I'm going for, and it is a medium to buildable coverage. On days like today where I think I'm just gonna go run some errands, it's not gonna be full coverage. But on nights where I do go out, or for instance when I go out to weddings or other events, you build it up to a full coverage. But it doesn't look cakey, it doesn't look heavy, and again, it's a friend to oily skin. For concealer, I have fallen in love with the NARS Complete Concealer, the Soft Matte Complete Concealer, because for the same reasons, if you're shopping for oily skin, this is a cream concealer, which is a problem, right? When I first saw it, I was like, I don't want to be applying cream to my face, I am oily. But ultimately, this is full coverage. Creams don't run when you have oily skin. So as comfortable as liquid concealers feel, if you have oily skin, I mean, we all did primary school science. What happens when you mix oil and water? They separate. So it's not going to be good for your skin using a liquid concealer. In 2016, when Tarte came out with their Shape Tape concealer, I remember trying it and loving it and then coming home after a couple of hours and being like, oh my god, I look like oil. So when it comes to oily skin, unfortunately, creams are useful. You're going to feel uncomfortable, which is why I will say it again. Skincare is important. Your routines are important. It's important that you maintain them and that you do skincare catered to your skin, specifically to your skin, because that's what's going to help you maintain and fix oily skin. What's so beautiful about this concealer is that it is easy to blend out. It does apply very light, and you can apply it like the foundation. You can put layers on top of it to make it thicker and more full coverage, but it applies very gently and it doesn't move. So out of all the concealers that I've ever tried, this is the one that stays in place. And I don't know if you can tell, but I don't apply too much of it. I am applying a second layer now, but I'm just tapping into the product and spreading it around my eye. It's not a heavy application and it's just there to, do its job, cover what needs to be covered. When you're applying concealer, especially a cream concealer, avoiding heavy application is key. Heavy application leads to creasing and oils and separation and drama. This allows for a light application and a full coverage in the meantime. That's why I love this concealer, and that's why I sort of refuse to try everything and anything else for now. Another thing that I've been using constantly, and again, I don't think I see myself changing anytime soon, is the MERCIER Translucent Loose Setting Powder. When I went looking for a translucent loose setting powder, I asked the lady, look, I'm oily, and you can see my pores after about an hour. What do I do? She did point me straight to this one, and she asked if I used their primer. The primer that I use is the Laura Mercier Pure Canvas Primer. I just put lip liner on it and it's messy. This duo eradicate any appearance of pores. Again, with the use of the correct skincare for your skin type. That's why I refuse to stray. It's interesting when I keep seeing products be recommended and different things be told, you need this or whatever. Ultimately, whatever works for you is what you need. This is the reason why I'm using these products. If you have oily skin, get a sample. Consider them. Be very selective with your products. Sometimes it's important not to really follow trends. I've avoided a whole lot of trends because I know that my skin is not compatible with them. But when you find something specifically for oily skin, I know dewy skin is in. And it's been in for years, and that's why I don't follow the trends. When you find something that works for you, stick with it. Obviously, try new things. Makeup is fun. It's here to be creative. It's here to paint. It's here to make art with. But my job on here is to teach you how to do it according to your standards, according to your face shape, according to your coloring. Not to, follow some trends. Trends won't suit everyone, and why do you want to be like everyone? You want to be like you. For bronzer, the reason I'm using the Benefit Hoola bronzer. I was using the NARS Laguna bronzer, but I was using it and then I dropped it and it broke, and that's why I went out and found this one. When I went into this store, I said, look, I have a neutral base coloring, so I can't have anything that's too orange. I like things that are more obviously neutral based. I explained to him the kind of makeup that I wore, how I didn't really like to overdo it with makeup, and I also explained to him that in Greece in the summer, I do plan to tan. So he did reintroduce me to the Hoola bronzer. This was big in 2016, and Benefit have made their company brand based on eyebrows. I also have a Benefit eyebrow product. But this was huge in 2016, and in 2016, I was at school learning how to apply makeup. So I didn't really follow too many of the trends. I was too busy learning how to use brushes. But this bronzer actually did everything this guy told me that it would do. He said that if you apply it lightly, it's going to cater to your neutral undertones, but if you apply it heavily, it's going to add more bronze. I don't know how that works, but it did. It was a neutral bronze, but in the summer, I looked like I was glowing. And in the winter, I'm avoiding looking like I am dead. So that's why I've stuck to this product, and the Laguna bronzer was good by NARS, but there's a reason I haven't gone back to it. They had two versions of this bronzer. They had the Laguna bronzer, the original, and then they had it in matte. What I found, the original had a satin kind of finish, which is not helpful when you have oily skin, but the matte one looked like a completely different color. It looked like it was very warm toned. And I understand that sometimes when you're working with medium, like the difference between the satin and the matte, maybe the pigment has to change. But it became from being a neutral toned gray based bronzer, it became very warm toned. So I've had to let that go. If you are looking for a more neutral tone matte bronzer, the Benefit Hoola bronzer is worth a shot. If your bronzing style is like mine, in the sense that you just do some bronzer, some blush, maybe a little highlight, it's really good. It doubles as both contouring and bronzer. If you're somebody who applies heavier contouring and then bronze and then blush and then highlight, it might not be what you're looking for. But if you're someone who's just learning, it is a good, I don't want to say all-rounder, because products that claim to be all-rounder are usually a scam, but I've had no problems with it. It does feel natural on me, and honestly, the more I build it, the glowier I look. The reason I use the NARS Dolce Vita blush is because I like the color. Blushes, I think, are the easiest thing to buy. They have to suit your undertone, or else you're going to look either like a clown or... No, yeah, that's it, a clown. So as long as the blush suits your undertone, it doesn't matter if it has some shimmer or sheen into it. If you're someone who doesn't like wearing blush, I used to be someone who didn't like wearing blush, it's because I was oily. So, if you're someone who doesn't like wearing blush, don't be afraid of using bronzers as blushes. I haven't done this for years, but I used to bring my bronzer all the way up, which gave me a completely different look, but it did fill in those cheeks. Now I put blush because I've discovered neutral tone blushes and I'm not red underneath anymore. But if that's an issue for you, you can use bronzers as blushes. You can also use color correcting concealers, but here's the thing with color correcting concealers. If you're going to cover, oh god, this eyebrow is a nightmare. If you're going to cover redness with a green concealer, just to apply your foundation, just to apply your concealer on top of that, just to apply your powder, and then to apply blush, it's like you're removing an issue and then adding the same issue onto your face. If you're removing color, if you're correcting color, you're probably wanting to avoid blush. Look, if I'm wrong, tell me in the comments, but that's what I was doing. I was color correcting redness, natural redness that I had, which was just some pinkness, to put pinkness on top, which is why I stopped doing that and I started just using bronzer. But I want to try and help you realize to use your features as your strengths. My job is to let you know that you don't need to cover everything up just to add the exact same thing on top of that. I will say, every Christmas, Hourglass come out with this like limited edition blush palette, and I love it. I have never bought one. I used to have this face complexion palette, which was very light, very sheen when I was learning about products, and I went through it like water. I loved that palette. That's probably a decent thing to try if there are blush palettes or bronzer palettes that you want to try, just to get your color and your preferences ready. For eyebrows, I have fallen in love with the Benefit Gimme Brow 24 hour, is it 24 hour? It doesn't say. Benefit Gimme Brow Plus Brow Gel. In my recent few videos, I was using other products. I was using the NYX eyebrow pencil and the Benefit 24 hour volumizing brown gel or whatever it was called, the clear one. I didn't like doing that. I didn't like it. Eyebrows, for a lot of people, are their highest maintenance point. I think my sister is one of those people. She spends a lot of time on her eyebrows. I'm not one of those people. I want to get the eyebrows over and done with. The fun thing for me is eyeshadows and lipsticks. So to keep eyebrows low maintenance, this is an exceptional product. And I always get the small one because I'm in Sephora every other week. I can always buy a new one, but they do have 2 sizes in various different colors and undertones. I use the shade 3 and it works. And if my eyebrows ever look like they don't match, it's not the product, it's me being a compulsive plucker. For eyeshadow, I'm going to use the Natural Nudes palette again. I love this palette. Ugh, this fell. That's why it's been missing. I loved this shade. It was my highlight shade, Swan. It was hitting pan, and that's why when it fell, it broke apart. I haven't found a nicer nude palette out of the ones that I've used. I haven't tried too many. I've tried one by Too Faced, I've tried Morphe, and I've tried some by MAC. But the Too Faced chocolate bar palette, for instance, the semi-sweet chocolate bar. But the Natural Nudes, the Born This Way Natural Nudes, I just love it. I use it in almost every video, you know, if you've been here. Today's look is going to be more of a gentle contour of the eye. For today's look, I'm tapping into the color Nude with my fluffy brush by Zoeva, swiping it over the lid. Now, it's not going to be a heavy application. There's no real shape to this. I'm just covering all the veinage that I have. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but I can see it in my mirror, and it's a result of having low iron. That goes over my entire lid. Nude is the closest color to my skin tone. I think actually Seashell I can get away with as well as being close to my skin tone. Nude feels more neutral. Seashell feels more cool toned. I'm applying this over the entire eye, trying to avoid any harsh lines and jagged edges, but still a very rough application. With my Real Techniques blending brush, I think I've got product on this from last night, which I think I used black, but I'm gonna go in with cocoa, or however you pronounce this, and where my crease is, which is here, just on top of it, add a little bit of color. And if you can't see it, I'm also going to do it with truffle. Taking a fine brush in the color truffle for now. I might change this brush in a second, but I want to outline that crease just on top of it. And then, normally I'd go in with my dense pencil brush, but I didn't get a chance to wash my brushes after last night and I used black with it. For that tutorial on Instagram, I'm going to put up a reel. And I basically want to diffuse upward the line that I just put down. So the upper part of my eye is going to be darker than the lower part. It's not exactly a cut crease because we're going to try and blend it out as softly and as evenly as we can. And a cut crease requires going back in and actually cutting that eye out. I just want to create a deeper shadow. But from that crease that we've drawn up to the brow bone, blend. And I've put no added product on this brush. If you need any extra product, I'd say don't go in with truffle, go in with cocoa to keep this as close to natural as possible. We're not trying to do any dramatic contrasting things here. And blending it into that crease line that you made. With that same brush and cocoa again, I'm taking it under the eye. This part is optional, but we all know how much I love smoking out that under eye. Connecting that top point to that bottom point, and we're ready to move on. For eyeliner, I'm using the Fenty Fly Liner in the color Truffle, in Big Truffle. The brown color. And I'm going to attempt to do a very, very skinny line. This worries me because we start skinny and it gets thick. And I have to lean on my desk, so my face is going to be huge. I feel like I should make this statement Your eye shape will determine how thick your eyeliner can go. If you're lucky and don't have a semi-hooded eye, your eyeliner can be pretty thin and still have the same impact as what I'm about to do, which is going to be a thicker line for some people, but when I look at you, it'll be thin. So it's not just like copy exactly what I do. If you have a semi-hooded eye, yeah, you can copy exactly what I do. But if you don't, it'll come down to you playing around with your eye shape and the lines that suit your face shape, which only you can decide anyway. I usually take it from the middle and the highest point I try to keep where that crease is. So ultimately, I can start off with a thin line and it gets thick, which is, I'm pretty sure, what just happened here. I feel like it's also important to say this. I start my eyeliner from the lower lash line, like from the point of the lower lash line up. A lot of people don't like doing this because it brings down their face. For me, I must. Because of a semi-hooded eye, if I start my eyeliner from the bottom of the upper lash line, you're not going to see it. It will be covered, it will be hidden, you're not going to see it. So I have to bring it from underneath up to meet where I'm meeting the top line. Another thing, this goes for all eye shapes, but especially if you have a hooded eye or a semi-hooded eye, the size of the hood over your eye is going to be different. And it's going to be more noticeable than someone who doesn't have a semi-hooded or a hooded eye. So you need to choose. Do you want your eyeliner to look the same when you're looking at someone? Or do you want it to look the same when you're looking down? How do you look at people? So this comes down to, when you interact with people, are your eyes wide open? Are you short and looking up at people? Are you tall and looking down? All of these things come into concern when you're doing your eyeliner. So how do you want it to be seen? If you're doing it for you to look exactly the same when it's open, it's not going to look the same if you're looking up or down at someone. It's going to look the same if you're looking at somebody head on. All of these things to consider to get the best look for you. And it just takes a lot of knowing your face, knowing your features, playing around with it, taking some risks. The amount of years that I went around doing eyeliner the way everyone else was doing eyeliner, and it did not suit. And I'm going to take my words just decided to leave me forever. What is this? Pencil brush. My dense pencil brush. It does have some black shadow on there from yesterday. I've wiped off as much as I could, but I'm going to go in with Truffle. That was a snap decision. I was going to go in with Cocoa. And begin a blend from the corner of that outside portion inward, and also fluffing it out a little. With my other pencil brush that I do highlight with, I'm tapping into Come Here Often, which is this color right here on the inner corner to open up that eye. And for anyone out there with hooded eyes and semi-hooded eyes, we highlight on the inside, not on the outside brow bone. This is because, and I've said it before, we don't have much real estate. If we're highlighting the parts of the brow where we have excess, that's what gets highlighted, the excess. We want to highlight parts that are hidden to bring them out more. I'm also going to do a light nose contour, which basically for me looks like an exclamation mark on my nose. And a bit above the lip. Sorry for flipping you off. For mascara, I'm going to go in with the lovely Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara in chocolate. If you're going to curl your lashes, curl your lashes. I don't really need to. When it comes to mascara, hang on. When it comes to mascara, there are some tricks of the trade. I don't always do them because I can get away with not doing them. If you've got long lashes, you don't need to necessarily scrape the mascara so that you can layer it. But if you've got thin lashes and you don't scrape the mascara, it clumps and it ruins the rest of the eye. It doesn't have time to dry down before it spreads and ruins your eye makeup. So it's more beneficial for you to scrape the edge of the mascara and use any kind of leftovers, building it up slowly. I can get away with not doing it because the time it takes for the brush to reach the end of the lashes, it's spread enough of the mascara through. But again, that's just this mascara. There are some mascaras out there on the market that do not require any layering at all because the brush is very small and it's made for small lashes. There are mascaras that need to be scraped off because they are too clumpy. So, play with it. That's the best advice I can give when it comes to makeup. Play with it. You're not going to learn any other way. I can tell you a million different ways to do one task. you're going to be suited to maybe 3. I'm not suited to a lot of different things, and I've learned the hard way. Man, I looked bad as a teenager. So, applying some lip balm because I have really dry lips. I do feel very summery when I wear browns, because it's not as harsh as blacks, obviously, but we're in winter now. So, taking Stone by MAC, lining your lips, which I'm going to do silently because I need my lips to be lined. Alright, the trick with lip lining. Because lip lining was the hardest thing for me to learn. What we learned in college, take your mirror and look at your lips from underneath them. Underneath your bottom lip is not visible front on. It's visible with the little mirror underneath it. If you're happy with the line and it's even all the way across, you've got yourself a decent underlip. And I don't know if you can see it, do you see that line of my lip that's above my lip line? That's what we're going to draw to. I've left it there on purpose. That phantom line is still a part of your lip. A lot of people, when they say overdrawing, they overdraw to that point. That is still a part of your lip. So I've lined it here like this. That's how I see my lip shape head on. But here, the line is higher. And those details you can only see from looking at your lips from underneath them. And that's your basic lip line. Now, if you've got lip balm underneath it, it's going to help the lip line slide better. So pursing your lips will give it a gradient, which also helps when you apply lipstick. It won't be such a harsh line. You don't have to do this. Some people like that harsh line. I don't, because I feel like my lips are small enough as it is, and if there are harsh lines, they're very noticeable. But it is up to you. I'm using Whirl. Remember when this was in? Whirl by MAC? This combo, Stone and Whirl, which is always interesting to me because Stone is cool toned, cool neutral, and Whirl is a warm brown. But it's the only brown that I have, so we're going to go with it. Okay, the way I apply lipstick is in the center first, and I buff it out. It buffs out naturally as far as it's going to go, and then I taper it out. I don't apply a full line of lipstick over my entire lips for a couple of reasons. Hang on. Okay, so the reasons are, when you apply excess lipstick, you run the risk of transferring it onto your teeth, which is what we're trying to avoid at all costs. Lipsticks are creams. Some lipsticks are matte and they dry down. Some lipsticks are liquid lipsticks which dry down matte. But a lipstick, a regular lipstick, is cream-based. So unless you're planning to set it with a setting powder, there is a very high chance that it's going to transfer. It is more scary when you're wearing darker colors because the darker colors are easier to see, but it happens with nudes as well and not enough people realize it. So you apply a thin layer of lipstick, you blend it out, and then you apply more as it goes. Throughout the day, if I'm reapplying lipstick, I reapply to the middle. The outside, I do a gradient of lip liner. So my lip liner is mostly applied on both lips, completely on the outside, and then just gradiented to the middle. This keeps the lipstick stuck on for longer. So if it transfers, it's going to transfer from the middle part of the lip, which you can reapply anyway. That's how I apply lipstick. Let me just set everything quickly with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Best setting spray that I've ever tried. I've tried this one, I've tried the MAC one, and I've tried the Urban Decay one. This setting spray does take a while to dry, and it does dry, at first it dries satin, and then when it's completely dry after a longer period of time, it does dry matte. But my obsessive compulsivity with having oily skin and, being traumatized from it, I do go back in with the MERCIER setting powder, and I just buff out mostly in my T-zone. It's an extra precaution. It's not something I necessarily need anymore after, again, doing all my skincare and having a routine that's been over a year now. I apply, and when I say I apply, I blot. No more swiping. Everything's already been applied and blended. We are blotting, spotting, whatever you want to call it, and minimizing any of that shine. And that's it. That's the final look for today. I've tried to keep it as simple as I can on the eyes. The look was for the lips to be more of a brown look, but I have used, again, brown liner, brown mascara, brown shadows. This video feels very chatty, and the reason for it is if I'm here to teach makeup, I want to teach makeup not just how I do it, but how you should be able to learn how to do it. Like, when I keep saying play with it, experiment, learn a couple things, not just from my videos, from everyone's videos that you can get. Everyone's got different face shapes, different skin types, color types, undertone color types, eye shapes, lip shapes, nose shapes, so face shapes. So the best that I can do is, my strong point would be diamond faces, oily skin, and semi-hooded eyes. And thin lips. I'm going to take that one as well, thank you. Not all of us are blessed with full, voluptuous lips, but doing the best that I can do to bring out your best features. That's what we were taught learning how to do makeup. Makeup is to bring out your best features. It's not to hide anything. So you decide what those features are and you come back to me and we'll work on it. Thank you for tuning into today's video. I hope you enjoyed this look. I hope I was able to teach you something, if not physically, like application-wise, then in theory. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, and if you'd like to see more, consider subscribing. I will be back next week with another video. So I'll see you then. Bye.